Say it?
Go ahead with my hairspray.
Actually, no, that's not the truth, Ellen. You were invited.
I wanna dance with you, twirl you all around the floor.
Talk shows have been around since like forever, so naturally, there have been some seriously funny and downright hilarious interviews over the years. Sometimes, famous people show up on TV to talk about their latest project, but every now and then, something unexpected happens that doesn't fit the usual script. It can be pretty funny and awkward, and we can't help but wonder if it was planned or just a hilarious coincidence. Let's take a look at some of the funniest moments in talk show history. The last video is going to make you go bonkers, so keep watching till the end. Dakota Johnson on Ellen. Ellen DeGeneres.
Don't be scared of me. You're looking away like I'm going to do something. I'm not. I'm a huge fan.
Has become one of the most successful women in the entertainment industry. She began as a stand-up comedian who appeared on HBO and The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson. She also had a hit sitcom titled Ellen and made history with its groundbreaking coming-out episode. DeGeneres has also appeared in films such as Mr. Wrong and Finding Nemo. DeGeneres also hosted The Ellen DeGeneres Show from 2003 to 2022. The show featured tons of celebrity guests and became a staple of pop culture. DeGeneres brought her trademark humor to the show and made the audience laugh every day. This interview kicks off with a touch of passive aggression as the two celebs argue about whether DeGeneres got an invite to Johnson's birthday bash. The whole atmosphere feels a bit off, with other uncomfortable moments like Ellen's blank stare when Johnson mentioned Tig Notaro as her favorite comedian, and Ellen focusing more on Shia LaBeouf in The Peanut Butter Falcon than on Johnson's own experience filming the movie. Jon Stewart blasts Jim Cramer for hedge fund gaming well before the GameStop Wall Street bets fiasco. One of the most significant historical financial stories in recent history is how a bunch of Redditors basically used the same strategies that hedge funds used. Artificially pumping stocks as some sort of game in order to turn huge profits was all over the news cycle in early 2021. Jon Stewart called out Mad Money host Jim Cramer for this kind of behavior, way back in 2009. This interview is a testament to how ahead of his time Stewart really was. Conan O'Brien gets back at NBC for taking The Tonight Show away from him by spending a lot of money. The drama circulating NBC's decision to hand the reins of The Tonight Show over to longtime fan favorite Conan O'Brien after Jay Leno retired, then deciding to hand it back to Jay when he decided he didn't want to stay retired, has been well documented. Conan, not taking the network's choice lightly, fired back by bringing a Bugatti Veyron on air. Maybe a jab at Jay's love for cars and licensing the Rolling Stones' Satisfaction, which cost a pretty penny to do. Some say the stunt alone cost a staggering $1.5 million. Marlon Brando kisses Larry King on the lips. Ask any film buff or aspiring actor to make a short list of significant leading men in American cinema, and almost all of them will put Marlon Brando on that list. The performer's life had its ups and downs, with plenty of downs later on in his career after the formative years that made him a legend were well behind him.
Got a date with an angel. You're off key.
This is why it was such a big deal when Larry King conducted an interview in Brando's home in 1994. What made it a bigger deal was the huge kiss Brando planted on him. Michael Richards apologizes for his tirade on David Letterman. Jerry Seinfeld went on David Letterman in 2003 and stood by Michael Richards following his Seinfeld co-star's on-stage meltdown, where he called a heckler racist slurs repeatedly in a massive tirade. To watch the man who played Kramer tries to apologize for live on air and salvage his career is a tough watch, and audience members couldn't help but laugh as he tried to do so. And it only made matters worse when Jerry says, "It's not funny." Paris Hilton on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. This interview, captured during the height of the cringeworthy NFT craze that has thankfully fizzled out to a mere shadow of its former self, is the perfect example of a celebrity shamelessly promoting a product like a robot. It caused a big lawsuit against Bored Ape creators Yuga Labs and the fintech firm MoonPay. They got in trouble for saying that celebrities bought NFTs, but it turns out they were actually given the tokens for free to promote them on TV. Talk about misleading. Ray Liotta and Jennifer Lopez on Watch What Happens Live. Ray Liotta, the awesome actor from Goodfellas, was hilariously honest in the famous Plead the Fifth part of the Bravo talk show WWWHL. He didn't waste a second before declaring Sigourney Weaver as his worst on-screen smooch. And he didn't hold back in saying that Clint Eastwood was a bit overrated back in the 80s and 90s. He couldn't even think of a single Jennifer Lopez song, which was pretty funny considering he was stuck to her with handcuffs during the segment. Donald Trump on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. It's the hair tussle that will live in infamy. In general, Trump's Tonight Show appearance, where Fallon completely softballed him with no questions about the many controversies that had arisen from his 2016 campaign, wasn't well received for obvious reasons. Jon Stewart on Crossfire. Not a lot of TV interviews lead to the show getting canceled, but that's sort of what happened when Stewart came on to promote his book. He pleaded with its hosts, Paul Begala and Tucker Carlson, to stop with the partisan hackery of the show's right versus left debate format, and it was canceled just a couple of months later, in January of 2005. Nicole Kidman on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. Imagine hosting your own show and discovering that Nicole Kidman had a crush on you, and you totally missed the chance. Kidman recalled how she ended up at Fallon's place through a friend, but he was more interested in gaming than chatting.
I'm married now, but he was like, oh, well, you can meet, I don't.
Wow, Fallon, that was a huge blunder. Harmony Korine on Tee Late Show with David Letterman. Fresh from his first ever movie, Kids, a young Harmony Korine had this bizarre chat with David Letterman. It's a bit out there, but definitely worth a watch. Korine kept going off on random tangents when Letterman asked him simple questions, leaving the host speechless multiple times. But hey, at least he had that charming energy going for him. So get this. Korine got himself banned from the show after making 3 appearances. Why, you ask? Well, he was caught snooping around in Meryl Streep's purse. Can you believe it? Letterman himself confirmed this wild and true story. Talk about a memorable moment. Abel Ferrara on Late Night with Conan O'Brien. So get this, Conan O'Brien, this young writer from SNL and The Simpsons, gets thrown into the spotlight when he's chosen to host the late night show after David Letterman bails. O'Brien was a real natural at many things, but let's just say he was still figuring things out as he went along. And boy, those early interviews were a bit bumpy, to say the least. This chat with the director of Bad Lieutenant, Abel Ferrara, was a little all over the place. But Conan did his best to keep things on track and managed to crack some hilarious jokes. Robert Pattinson on the Tyra Banks Show. During a chat on Banks's now-defunct talk show, R. Pats and Taylor Lautner had a hilarious moment where she convinced him to playfully nibble her neck. It was quite the unexpected twist. The moment was hilarious, especially when Banks asked him in a British accent, and Pattinson looked completely confused. Bobcat Goldthwait on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno. Even if the surreal stand-up Goldthwait hadn't ended up setting his chair on fire by spraying lighter fluid on it and lighting it up, this 1933 Jay Leno interview wasn't exactly going smoothly leading up to it. This is probably the quickest a guest was able to launch an interview off the rails, and it's probably a miracle that more wasn't burned on that set than just the chair. Benedict Cumberbatch looks like Otter. During an episode of The Graham Norton Show, Benedict Cumberbatch was surprised with the revelation that some of his fans think he looks like an otter. This led to a humorous moment where Cumberbatch did his best otter impression, creating some new material for otters who look like Benedict Cumberbatch. The playful exchange took place during the show's 2015 episode. Steve Harvey's daughter on The Ellen Show. A pretty hilarious moment happened on The Ellen Show when Ellen decided to pull up pictures of Steve Harvey's daughter and Michael B. Jordan, who were dating at the time, and get Steve's live reaction to the photo. The Graham Norton Show. During this clip from The Graham Norton Show, Nicole Kidman lightheartedly calls out Graham for bringing up a picture of her kissing Alexander Skarsgård. You're after being nudged by James Sebastian finally builds up the courage to tell her the truth about his crush. What happens next? I'm sure the young Sebastian would never have imagined. The fallen prank. As she is being introduced to the show, journalist Katie Couric gives James Corden the shock of his life as she hires a stunt double to fall down the stairs to prank him. Interview with Jay Leno. Chef Gordon Ramsay had been annoying and playfully flirting with Sofia Vergara for the majority of this interview with Jay Leno. Then this happened. Jamie Foxx in The Graham Norton Show. While on The Graham Norton Show, Jamie Foxx is faced with an awkward situation as he's asked to explain the spicy lyrics from his R&B song.
There'll be puddles in the bed, the weatherman said.
Emma Stone's reaction when she finally gets it is hilarious. Elizabeth Warren on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. Stephen Colbert became a great interviewer once he stopped pretending to be funny on The Colbert Report. He's had some awesome chats with politicians on late-night TV. So in this video, he straight up asks Senator Elizabeth Warren if we should just get rid of the Senate, saying it's like super anti-democratic and stuff. Well, things got a little awkward when Warren burst out laughing at the question, only to realize it was actually serious. But hey, at least it sparked a good conversation. Jerry Lawler and Andy Kaufman on Letterman.
For the first time on network television, they meet face-to-face. Here are Andy Kaufman and Jerry Lawler.
This talk show moment is legendary. Andy Kaufman and Jerry Lawler had an epic wrestling match on Late Night with David Letterman back in 1982. It's still talked about to this day. So get this. Turns out Kaufman actually planned this whole thing. Years later, he spilled the beans and let us in on his secret love for professional wrestling. Who would have thought? Jimmy Kimmel on The Late Late Show with James Corden. Guess who got a taste of their own medicine on Spill Your Guts or Fill Your Guts? It wasn't Kimmel this time, but the former Late Late Show host, James Corden. For the final question, Kimmel puts Corden in a tough spot. Drink a fish smoothie, or remember the names of 2 camera operators on the show. Corden, the host of the show, seems a bit lost for a second before taking a sip of the smoothie. Star Jones on The View. In 2006, something totally unexpected happened on The View. Star Jones surprised her co-hosts by announcing that she was leaving the show after 9 years. It was definitely a jaw-dropping moment. Jimmy Fallon Show. During this hilarious clip from the Jimmy Fallon Show,
Catherine is welcome to sit there.
actor and comedian Russell Brand uses his British charm and charisma as he flirts with Catherine MC, Kevin Hart.
Put stuff in the car, I'm Shaq. I don't have nothing to do.
While on Jay Leno, Kevin Hart is joking around about Shaquille O'Neal having nothing to do with his time. Soon after, Shaquille comes out to surprise him, the one with the horologist. Obviously, the Late Late Toy Show uncovers some of Ireland's biggest stars each and every year. But back in 2010, Ryan introduced us to a wee lad called John Joe, who became an overnight icon and internet sensation. The young, bespectacled man was deemed a child prodigy when, during a chat about Roald Dahl's books, John Joe was extremely eloquent with what he was saying. For children, fantasy always comes first. Sat giggling on the couch, very much in a fantasy world of his own, John Joe told Tubbs he wanted to be a horologist when he was older, to fix clocks, before analyzing Ryan's own watch. He told the presenter his watch will stand the test of time if he keeps it clean. Gas. The incredible Joanne O'Riordan. At the young age of 15, rock star Joanne O'Riordan had a chat with Ryan about what it's like living with total Amelia syndrome. Pretty cool, huh? Wow, this gal's got some serious positive vibes. She totally rocked the socks off the Irish folks all over the place. She's got an awesome attitude, even at 15. She was cracking jokes and even spilled the beans on how Jedward once called her Need for Speed. Reunited, and it feels so good. Ryan is well used to pulling on our heartstrings on the show with very moving celebrity interviews that provoke tears. But 10 years ago, Ryan reunited a mother and daughter for Christmas live on air after 3 years apart. And it absolutely floored everybody. She's here. We brought them home. Any crack? Nil. Alex Meehan rocked the toy show 10 years ago when he rolled onto the stage in his tractor, cool as a cucumber in his very smart flat cap. The wee lad told Ryan that he was from Blackrock in Dundalk.
Where are you from?
Blackrock and Dundalk.
In Dundalk?
Yeah.
But then took Ryan by surprise when he burst into some very impressive fluent Irish. Things leveled up a notch when Ryan asked him, "Any crack?" And he responded nil, then casually drove off the stage to rapturous applause from the crowd. Linda Martin v. Aslan. During the Eurosong competition in 2014, when Aslan's Billy McGuinness began critiquing the selection of songs and artists, Linda Martin stepped up to defend the sacred competition. She gave him a piece of her mind, and honestly, people were living for the drama of it all. Ryan even had to stand up and get between the pair as they argued over what Billy called favoritism amongst the panel for X Factor alum Eowyn Quigg, the Daniel O'Donnell impersonator, performing I Just Want to Dance With You. Mario Rosenstock did his best Daniel O'Donnell impression.
I wanna dance with you, twirl you all around the floor.
And had the crowd in absolute and utter stitches, mingling with the audience as he sang. Everyone was obsessed with his rendition of the iconic song, Fantagate. Look, we all blurt out the odd F-bomb every now and again in front of kids.
Oh, that's true. I think I'll have another glass of Fanta because I love Fanta so much.
But it just so happens, Ryan Tubridy did it on national television. When he went to pour himself a glass of Fanta, the bottle had been shaken up, spraying all over the place, and he muttered under his breath, the F word. Barry Keoghan opens up. One of the funniest moments in talk show history compilation was in Late Late Show when the banshees of Inisherin actor Barry Keoghan took to the couch across from Ryan Tubridy. He was extremely vulnerable and honest about his challenging upbringing in 13 foster homes during his childhood.
I mean, Colin is just, he's unreal. I really mean that as a person,
Yeah. And memories about his late mother, who Ryan encouraged would be extremely proud of him. Dad's home. One of the most heartwarming moments across the span of Ryan's time on the show has got to be the year he reunited a family whose dad was peacekeeping for the army overseas. Their father burst out of a giant present box as the 3 kids screamed with glee. Even Ryan was totally moved by the moment, saying, "I can't take this." The infernal duvet. Audiences were falling around the place with laughter as funny man Francis Brennan gave a brilliant demonstration on how to put a duvet cover on a duvet. The tutorial had great detail as he interacted with the crowd. "One corner and all the way to the top, isn't that right, girls?" He even wrangled one of the members of the audience up on stage to help him out. Too funny. Anne Widdecombe is dragged across the floor. At the other end of the dance talent spectrum, we have Anne Widdecombe. Politicians go into Strictly with an idea that they'll be bad. And when you see Widdecombe and John Sargent dance, you see why. Watching the former Conservative MP stomp and then be dragged across the floor is certainly memorable, with head judge Len Goodman comparing this performance to a motorway accident that you don't really want to watch, but you can't help yourself. Ellen has trouble putting on gloves. When planning a joke on a talk show, it sometimes requires more than just words. Sometimes a visual gag is the way to go. That is, of course, if planned correctly. This particular gag required DeGeneres to put on a pair of gloves to resemble a manicure. However, she was having trouble getting them on properly in time. What followed was a laugh attack that made the moment even funnier than what was originally planned. Ellen's executive producer, Andy, cracks her up. Ellen's executive producer, Andy Lassner, was known for having a very dirty mind. This is something DeGeneres often took full advantage of. She would often have Lassner tell jokes filled with innuendos. He would burst out laughing most of the time. Such was the case during a cold, open segment where DeGeneres and Lassner could barely keep a straight face. DeGeneres even brought Lassner on stage to say more things that cracked them both up.
Do you have balls on your tree?
Sofia Vergara makes Ellen laugh during a game segment. Sofia Vergara became widely known during her stint as Gloria on the hit sitcom Modern Family. While on the Emmy-winning series, she made several appearances on DeGeneres' show. The dynamic between DeGeneres and Vergara left viewers in stitches from laughing so hard. During one particular segment, the two were playing a game called Stuff Your Granny Panties, and things fell apart pretty quickly. DeGeneres and the audience were cracking up from laughter.
You and I are going to get into the same pair of underwear.
No.
Yep.
An unexpected Starbucks customer cracks Ellen up. DeGeneres would often do hidden camera pranks on her show. These would consist of a person having a monitor in their ear while DeGeneres would tell them what to say. This is something DeGeneres would do with celebrities and sometimes random people. During one segment, DeGeneres was telling a woman named Heidi what to say to Starbucks customers as they placed their orders in the drive-thru. One customer in particular said something that caught both DeGeneres and the audience completely off guard. This resulted in roars of laughter. Ellen's writer, Amy, comes down with a case of Bieber fever. Amy Rhodes was a writer on DeGeneres' show for many years. Known to scare easily, she was often the target of many pranks and skits. These included sending her to haunted houses and even having her play the game Know or Go. Rhodes was also dressed as a reporter and participated in several funny skits during the show. In one segment, Rhodes played a fan of Justin Bieber and ran through a fake wall during a gag. The result, which wasn't rehearsed, left DeGeneres and the audience laughing. A viewer from Texas makes Ellen laugh so hard that she cries. During one show, DeGeneres read a letter from a viewer named Gladys Hardy from Austin, Texas. Hardy told DeGeneres that a plant in the background was placed in such a way that it looked like it was coming from the top of her head. After moving the plant, DeGeneres called Hardy up to surprise her. Hardy was full of personality and cracked everyone up with her now famous line, "I love Jesus, but I drink a little." DeGeneres would later call Hardy on a regular basis, and she became part of the show's family. Crush on Mila Kunis. British singer Ollie Murs gets completely embarrassed. His host, Graham Norton, exposes the fact that he has a crush on Mila Kunis. Oh, and by the way, Mila was right next to him.
He did this.
The Wendy Williams Show. During this hilarious and also viral clip from The Wendy Williams Show, while talking about a serious subject, Wendy seemingly pauses to pass gas.
But you can't even do that locker room thing. That cop wasn't playing that. I mean...
50 Cent secrets. 50 Cent shares too much information regarding what the bullet in his tongue is used for, regarding his private activities. Graham Norton prank. When Graham Norton played a prank on Emma Stone after finding out that she's a superfan of the Spice Girls. An aspiring magician's tricks don't quite go as planned. Throughout the show's run, DeGeneres often had children as guests on her show. Sometimes they had inspiring stories, sometimes they had incredible talents, and other times they made the audience laugh. Britton was one of DeGeneres' young guests, who frequently talked about his passion for James Bond and magic tricks. He was an aspiring magician and during one segment decided to show DeGeneres some of his magic tricks. Unfortunately, this didn't go as planned and it left DeGeneres in an uncontrollable fit of laughter.
You just put one in there? Because I didn't...
Yeah, I just
You didn't really show me, but okay.
Something unexpected happens at Ellen's Thanksgiving dinner table. Throughout the show's run, there were several comedic skits that were performed on the show. These sometimes included celebrity guests and cameos. They mostly included DeGeneres' staff. Such was the case with her annual Thanksgiving skits. In these skits, DeGeneres would go through her seating arrangement during Thanksgiving dinner. These would result in DeGeneres' staff playing the roles of different family members. In one skit, however, one of DeGeneres' staff was looking at something on an iPad that shocked DeGeneres into laughter. Nicole Kidman tells Jimmy Fallon he massively botched a first date between them, and he had no idea. The interview starts with Jimmy talking about the time he met Nicole Kidman in the past, and he tells his version of events before she drops a bombshell on him, that she liked him and wanted to pursue dating him and spoke with a mutual friend of theirs to try and set the two of them up. The meeting happened, but Jimmy seemed to be more engrossed with playing video games in his apartment than entertaining Nicole, and any chance the two of them had at dating was shot at that moment. Years later, she opened up to Jimmy about it on his show, and it left Jimmy not only flustered, but short-circuited, reliving his past mistake. Yes, Jimmy, you could have dated Nicole Kidman. He had to lay down on the couch and contemplate his life choices for a second live on air. They admirably worked through the awkwardness, and it turned into a legendary late-night interview for the ages. A follow-up interview with Nicole Kidman, where her husband Keith Urban shows up, only made things more awkward.
But this is years ago, and do you want me to tell my version of the story?
Yeah, you tell your version.
Jason Sehorn surprises Angie Harmon with a proposal on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno. Actress Angie Harmon was interviewing Jay while her father was in the audience. Then Jay asks if she's dating anyone. All of a sudden, he invites Jason onto the stage, and the former Giants cornerback gets down on one knee and proposes to her. She says yes, and the two were married for 15 years, between 2001 and 2016.
Hi, what are you doing?
The Grumpy Actor. When James Corden plays Jeremy Renner, a clip of Elizabeth Olsen saying he always looks grumpy. Hey guys, before we move on, it's time for our subscribers' pick of the day. Check out this hilarious picture on your screen. David Letterman couldn't keep his eyes off Eva Longoria when she showed up on The Late Show in a super revealing outfit. His focus was all over the place. Check out the actress rocking a pantsuit, minus the pants. Eva Longoria wore navy blue short shorts with a matching blazer, but her decision to go braless was risky. She almost had a major wardrobe malfunction. What do you think was going through the mind of The Late Show's host at that time? Just curious. Well, this is definitely one of the funniest moments in talk show history compilation. Do you agree with me on that? What do you guys think? Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. RuPaul's reaction. During this hilarious and now viral clip from the Jimmy Fallon show, Jimmy got very anxious and scared after RuPaul's reaction to referring to him as a drag queen.
This is the first time a drag queen has ever been put on the cover of...
Drag queen!
Ryan Gosling and Harrison Ford go bonkers in this British interview. Well, this is for a morning show overseas, but maybe we can attribute this to a time difference, if anything. But this joint interview between Harrison Ford and Ryan Gosling is too good to pass up. Every moment after hilarious moment is pure gold, and they try their best to talk about Blade Runner 2049, but the hijinks are just too good to not enjoy. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.